Atlantic Lottery is proud to sponsor important community initiatives like this year's Canada Games.
Calling St. John's unique is like calling a humpback a goldfish. It's wildly different here.
Hello.
Hi, remember me? We bought your old house.
Yes.
We brought some mail.
Oh,
Hey.
the diaper subscription. I forgot to cancel it.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet the memories are coming back now. The BMO app helps you keep an eye on where your money's going.
Like how?
Well, for one, it would have told you this subscription price had gone up multiple times.
It's a lot of diapers.
Well, extra's good. So where's the baby?
Oh, he's right here. This is the baby.
And that ain't no baby.
I'ma leave it all on the line. Better believe I'll get mine. No, never, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time. I'ma leave it all on the line. Better believe I'll get mine. No, never, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time. I'ma leave it all on the line. Better believe I'll get mine. No, never, it's my time. It's my time. It's my time.
Hello, hello.
Well, good morning, Canada, and welcome back to our continuing coverage here of the Canada Summer Games in beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. What a couple weeks it's been of competition. Today, as we get nearer to the end of competition week 2, we find ourselves at the Works Aquarena and here in beautiful St. John's, and I have the privilege of being joined by Kaylee Mackay, Olympian in diving, here to bring you the expert analysis. What a day this is going to be. These athletes here at the height of their competition, Kaylee, and what a morning this should be.
It's going to be super exciting. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited to be a part of this again. I was at the Canada Games in 2013, so this is kind of me like reliving my youth.
Yeah, and certainly what a great point to bring up as well, Kaylee. You talked about you've obviously been to the biggest stage for Canada, but you started at the Canada Games. What kind of, or how did that experience help you in your journey as you took that next step in the life of a high-performance athlete?
I mean, it was such an amazing and pivotal step for me. I mean, the first major games that I ever did, or multi-sport games, I should say, and it was super exciting. I mean, just being in the village and having like all these athletes from your province surrounding you from different sports and all of that stuff was just crazy exciting. And I mean, I remember getting a medal, and that medal to this day is still one of the nicest medals I've ever gotten. So just the whole experience is just really, really great for growth for young athletes.
Certainly is a great point, and we are going to begin this morning here on the board. First, we have Freddie Moffat of Saskatchewan. But before that, we'll go down to the pool for our national anthem. So national anthem in the books, ready to kick things off. This morning, the 3-meter springboard men's, as we mentioned. Freddie Moffitt going to kick things off. So, Kaylee, for those who are perhaps new to the sport tuning in, what can we expect from this 3-meter?
Yes, so all these boys will be competing 5 dives covering 5 different groups. We have 5 judges. The top score and the bottom score, so top and lowest, will be taken out, and the middle 3 scores will be added together and then multiplied by the degree of difficulty, and that's how you get your overall dive score. All those dive scores will be added together and you'll get your final score. This is going to be a really exciting event. It's one of my favorite ones to watch. These boys are growing, they're strong, they've got some really exciting dives coming up, and we can look for some nice precision, beautiful entries, and some strong flipping.
It'd be exciting to watch. Here's Freddie Moffitt. Freddie coming from Regina, Saskatchewan, provincial capital. Start inward. A big start. You're kicking things off. Kaylee, is there any extra pressure being the first one to dive? Not a lot of chance to settle in your experience. Is there any effect on the athlete depending on where you are in the order?
It really depends on the person. For me, I really do not like being first diver because it's a really hard place to have a rhythm. When you're in the middle, you kind of have a bit more of a rhythm of timing of when to get ready for your dives and stuff. When you're first diver, there can be a whole lot of things to wait on, but otherwise it's kind of up to the individual.
So here we go. Freddie Moffitt.
Beautiful start from him. I mean, this angle, we didn't really see the entry angle, but I think it was a little bit over-rotated. Still a good start. I think you can be very happy with that.
There you go, the marks from the judges. 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.0, 5.5. He should be happy with that. Kaylee?
Yep, you should be happy with that. Always, the first dive is always the one to get it, get it out of your list, get into the competition, so done that.
So here's Claude Olivier Lissy-Codel from Quebec.
Beautiful start, and Claude is known for his rip entries. A rip entry is when you go in the water with absolutely no splash, and that's exactly what Claude just did.
So he should be happy, and there you see the marks, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5, 8.0, and 8.0. Take another look at us. Take us through it, Kaylee.
Beautiful takeoff, amazing height. Look at that tuck position and then beautiful pointed toes all the way through the water, leaving no splash behind. Exactly what you're looking for.
I'm certainly happy. Next up, Samuel Talbot from Quebec.
Another beautiful dive, again, another rip entry, and you'll see a lot of these men doing inward 2.5s. It's a pretty stable one to start for them, more comfortable, and you can see with Sam's dive, it was a very consistent, nice entry.
Some nice marks. Fort Talbot is next on the board from Caledon, Ontario. Nicholas Bondi. Great focus.
Another strong start. You could see that this was a similar dive to the ones we saw before, but just in a pike position, making it a little bit more difficult. It's at 0.3 more in degree of difficulty. So the 6.5s are a very good start for him. Very strong takeoff on the board. Nice tight pike. Missing the entry a little bit, but very, very strong on his part.
Next up, we have Mark Rico Lamb from Alberta.
And again, another really, really strong start from Mark. Beautiful entry, and I love seeing these guys just go out with the entries. Very, very strong takeoffs, and overall very beautiful.
Great height off the board, it appears.
Yes, I'll be very happy with that beginning.
So There's the marks for Mark Rico Lamb. Next up, we have Vlad Tiagle from Manitoba.
A great start. So this is the first time we see a forward approach. This is a hurdle going into that front 3.5. It's a very, for me, stressful thing to start off with, a hurdle in a competition. But he did a very good job of managing his hurdle. Just a little bit missing the entry, going a little bit short on the entry there. You can see he's a little bit far out from the board, which definitely has an impact on knowing where you are and how tight you can be in the water.
So we'll wait for the marks for Vlad, and there they are. And the 5s across the board. Next up, we have Simon LePage from Ontario.
And a solid start for Simon there. Slightly short on that entry. Could have been a little bit tighter. But again, really, really strong on the takeoff and a beautiful pike position in the air.
Another look at Simon LePage. And he'll receive his marks from the judges. So next up from Alberta, Paul Yang.
De l'Alberta. 405 B pour lui.
Very strong start. I really love his technique on the takeoff here. Getting right into that beautiful pike. I think we'll see it again here. And going into that beautiful entry again. He's going to be very happy with that start.
White marks and look of satisfaction.
Look at this pike position. Beautiful pike position. Knows exactly where he is and goes right for that entry.
Next up, Thomas Marino from Manitoba.
Solid start from Thomas, a little bit shaky on that hurdle and a little bit missing the entry there. You can see he wasn't quite vertical and not quite straight enough to get a really ripped entry.
Here's another look at that entry from Marino.
You can see him come out a little bit too early there, just misjudging where he is in the air.
So here's Matthias Froloff from British Columbia. Difficulty 3.0.
Oh, another solid start from Matthias. That was a beautiful dive. He's been working very, very hard. I've seen him progress a lot in the last few years. His Argentina pike is a beautiful takeoff, beautiful pike. Would have liked to see his toes point a little bit more on the entry, I think, here. Other than that, beautiful start.
So Casey Spilchak from Saskatchewan up next. Difficulty 2.8 here in this round one.
So a little bit short on that entry. You can see that he was a little bit on the corner of the board, which definitely plays a little bit of a game in your mind, trying to keep your composure. Unfortunately, just not extending into that vertical and missing a bit on that entry there.
There's another look as he'll wait for the marks. Next up, we have Nikos Santakis from British Columbia. We'll start inward.
Little bit too much power there for Nikos. He held on a little bit too long, over-rotating slightly, but otherwise beautiful takeoff, beautiful tuck position, beautiful toes on that come out, just keeping his head down a little bit and rolling over. You'll see he's kind of over-rotating on the bottom here on the replay.
Another great look as we'll await his scores from the judges. Next up, we have Adrian Insogna from Quebec. 3.1 difficulty.
So this is a harder dive. This is a 3.1. Very difficult. I mean, I'm trying to learn it myself. Unfortunately, Adrian just went a little bit short on that bottom, not getting enough height off the board on the takeoff, but in the air, beautiful pike. Just not enough power and height. His knees kind of buckled at the end there on the hurdle. Just not enough power.
On the board, coming up from British Columbia, Matthias Desmarais. 2.7 difficulty. Starting inward.
A solid start there for Matthias. Again, a really strong takeoff into a nice tuck position. Straight into that vertical, not quite a rip entry, but I think he'll be really happy with that beginning.
There's a look at our leaderboard as well, but another look at that dive from Desmarais. So Logan Tate coming up next from Alberta. So 2.7 difficulty.
Beautiful start, and what we're looking for in this inward 2.5 is definitely the height and the safe distance from the board. I loved his height, I loved his tuck position, and he came out right at the right spot. Entry was beautiful too, not quite a rip, but very good.
Here's another look at that entry. So Nicholas Landry coming up next from Manitoba with a 2.8 difficulty, a little bit higher.
A solid start on that hurdle, but unfortunately he just held on too long in that rotation, over-rotating too much. Sometimes it's the excitement of the first dive, you know, it's hard to adjust to that adrenaline.
And here's
definitely not the start he was looking for on that entry, but strong.
Big dives here at the Canada Games this morning. Next up, we see Jackson Congdon from British Columbia, 2.7 difficulty. Here in round number 1.
Jackson Congdon pour la Colombie-Britannique.
Solid start there, a little bit over-rotated, but I love his takeoff. I love his tuck position. You can see him squeezing really, really tight, and technically this was really, really, really well done, just slightly over-rotating.
Here's another look at that dive from Congdon of BC.
Maintenant pour le Québec, Arnaud Corbeil.
So Arnaud Corbeil from Quebec. Coming up next, the 2.7 difficulty.
Beautiful dive, and when I talk about wanting to get height off the board, Arnaud does just that. I did see a little bit of a twist on that bottom on the entry. I don't know if the judges will see it. They see the dive only in live. They don't get the slow motion like we do. You can see a little bit of a twisting there, but still a solid entry. We'll see what the judges think.
Next up from Saskatchewan, Kash Tarasov. So we see that 3.0 difficulty coming up on this one, Kaylee.
Yes, we do, and this is the first twisting dive that we'll see, so it's a front 2.5 with a full twist.
Tarasov.
Beautiful start, and I love this dive. I love watching this dive, and Cash does it really well. Solid takeoff, solid tight position, and a really nice connection into that twist, which makes it easier to go into that beautiful rip entry.
Here's another look at the dive from Tarasov. So Noland Legier-Lazare Coming up, 2.8 difficulty from Ontario.
Solid start from Nolan. That was a reverse 2.5 tuck, the first reverse that we've seen all day. A little bit short on that entry. Fun fact about Nolan, he also does high diving, which is really, really cool that he's doing both the springboard and the high diving. He had a very nice hurdle here, just slightly under rotating, taking a little bit early there, which leaves him short of the vertical.
And to finish things off, here in round number 1, Raphael Serre-Cormier from Ontario, 2.7 difficulty.
Another beautiful start, slightly over-rotating on that entry, not quite getting straight into that vertical. Still a really nice takeoff, great tuck position.
That concludes all of our divers here in round number 1. Kaylee, your thoughts overall from the first look at these dives this morning?
First round is always stressful, especially when it's early in the morning, so I'm sure these boys are happy to kind of getting into that second round, but still a strong start from all these boys. It's going to be a nice preliminary.
So Freddie Moffitt, his second dive of the day, difficulty of 2.8.
And that was a really good save from Freddie on this hurdle. You can see that he was on the corner of the board, a little bit of a panic on the board there, but hold his composure. Did a front 3.5 tuck, a beautiful one at that, holding his composure, and the nice entry.
Here's another look.
Slightly over-rotated, but still very, very good save.
So welcoming back Claude Olivier Lissy-Coder from Quebec. This dive with a difficulty of 2.8.
He's going to be a little bit disappointed with that. I've seen him really, really nail that dive before. And just not enough energy on that end of the board, missing the entry a bit, not enough energy going into that and leaving it a little bit short of the vertical.
Here's another look at the dive from Lissy-Coder. Moving on, next up, Samuel Talbot. See that difficulty at 3.1 for this dive, Kaylee.
Yes, so he'll be doing a front 3.5, but in a pike position, which makes it a bit more difficult. And pretty good, pretty well done. Still a little bit short of the vertical, but like I said, this front 3.5 pike is a little bit more difficult than the tuck. That's why there's 0.3 more difficulty on the degree.
Another look at the dive from Talbot. That brings us to Nicholas Bondi of Ontario. Difficulty of 2.8.
And that's a solid dive for Nicholas there. I was a little bit worried about that hurdle, but he held his composure, did a really, really nice entry as well. Happy about it as well.
Yeah, you can see it in his face coming into the pool. Here's another look at the dive from Bondi. And up next from Alberta, Mark Rico Lamb. This dive with difficulty of 2.8.
So with this dive, he fell a little bit far back, which kind of changes your awareness in the air of where you are. Unfortunately, he kicked a little bit late. I would have liked to see his head down on this takeoff. Leaves him a little bit loose and rolling over on that entry.
And a great look from our crew at that dive from Rico Lamb. Not next on the board, Vlad Tiagle from Manitoba. See that 3.0 difficulty level coming up here in round 2.
And he'll be doing a back to enough pike. Again, changing the position in the air from a tuck to a pike makes it a little bit more difficult. Needs a little bit more energy and strength. And again, I said it's a little bit more difficult, and you can see why. Unfortunately, Vlad was missing a little bit of energy, a little bit of height on the end of the board there taking off. When you don't get the right connection, it's almost impossible to get to the vertical.
Here's another look at the dive from Tiagle. This brings up Simon LePage from Ontario. Difficulty level 2.8.
Beautiful dive from Simon. I loved his direction off of the board. When you have a great direction off that takeoff, you know where to come out a lot easier. He did a really good job of managing that.
Here's another look. Height. Here's Paul Yang from Alberta. Once again, that 3.0 level of difficulty. In ninth.
Well managed. I think he was missing a little bit of height on that takeoff. He arched a little bit into that entry, trying to get a little bit more out of the dive, but still coming a little bit short.
A great look from our crew, bringing you the action here from Canada Games in St. John's. Up next, Thomas Moreno at 21st with a difficulty level jump dive of 2.8.
He's slightly over-rotated there for Thomas, but you can see that he's happy with some of it. He knows, I think, that he missed that dive a little bit, but he was strong off the takeoff, just over-rotating a little bit there.
Here's another look.
And for some of these boys, I'm assuming that some of these dives are new, so competing it the first time is hard.
So here's Matthias Froloff from BC.
And wow. That was a front 3.5 pike, DD of 3.1, and he just absolutely nailed it. And when I say that he's been working really hard, you can see it in this dive. He's getting so much stronger. Beautiful pike position in the air there, and look how he reaches right to that entry, just disappearing.
So great effort from Froloff. Brings up Casey Spilchak from Saskatchewan, sitting in 20th at the moment.
Solid dive there for Casey. A slightly short on that entry, but a really beautiful takeoff, really beautiful tuck. You'll see in the replay, I really like his positioning in the air. He knows where he is, it's just holding a little bit short.
Here's another look at the dive from Spilchak from Saskatchewan.
4.5, 6. Up, Nico.
Here's BC, Nikos Santekis from British Columbia.
Beautiful dive there from Nikos. He knows exactly where he is in the air, which lets him just kick out and reach super, super tight into the water, allowing for that rip entry.
Here's another look. Dive from Nikos. So Adrian Insogna up next from Quebec. See that difficulty of 2.8.
Unfortunately, Adrian looked like he knew exactly where he was. He just kind of held back on kicking out. He was a little bit unsure where he was, which made him over-rotate on that entry. You can tell he's a little bit disappointed with that one.
There's another look at the entry. So Matthias Desmarais from British Columbia. And up next with a level of difficulty 2.8.
And he's going to be upset with that. When I talk about hurdles, there's so many factors that go into a hurdle. When you're off on the side of the board, you can either balk or commit to the dive. When you balk, you lose 2 points from each judge. So he committed to the dive, but unfortunately not enough energy trying to survive that dive.
So here's Logan Tate once again from Alberta in the second round.
And a beautiful dive there from Logan. I really loved his tight legs on that entry. He might have been a little bit short of the vertical, but overall really strong dive.
Here's another look at the dive from Logan. Bringing up Nicholas Landry from Manitoba. With difficulty 2.8.
And unfortunately, again, just slightly over-rotating, holding back on kicking out. There's a lot of energy going off that board for him. Really beautiful takeoff. Falling back off the board a little bit can contribute to having a little bit of an out-of-control entry, so just a little bit over that vertical there.
Next, bringing up Jackson Congdon of British Columbia. Difficulty level 2.8. Let's dive.
And a beautiful dive again from this angle. We can see exactly where they are on the end of the board. He was off to the corner. He stayed composed and still got a really good takeoff. Knew exactly where he was and reached that beautiful entry.
Here's another look at that dive from Congdon. So Arnaud Corbet turns to the board for Quebec.
And again, a beautiful dive. I love his height off the board. His direction is impeccable. When you have a great direction off the board like that, it's really easy to know where you are in the air and just reach for that entry. You can see how vertical he goes. Beautiful tuck. And right in the water.
So Kash Tarasov next on the board for Saskatchewan. You see that level of difficulty at 3.1. So a big dive.
And very well done for Kash. Again, you said it was a high DD, harder dive to make. If you don't have a perfect takeoff, you got to work really hard in the air. You can see him squeeze really hard in that pike, trying to get as much rotation as he can out of it. Just missing his hands a little bit on that entry, leaving a bit of a splash.
So coming up, Nolan Leger-Lazare from Ontario. Next on the board, a DD of 2.8.
Very well done there from Nolan. I really loved his composure on the end of the board. It is hard to compete these hurdle dives, so I think he'll be really happy with this.
Here's another look at the dive from Nolan. So once again, Raphael Serre-Cormier. You see that DD of 3.1 from Ontario.
And again, just not enough power off the end of the board. When you can't get the rotation, it's really hard to just squeeze to make the dive, but I'm really happy to see these boys trying the 107B front and half pike. we got to compete it to get to know it.
There's another look at the point of entry. So there's the standings after round number 2 of 5 here this morning on the Aquarena in beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Once again on the board, Freddie Moffitt from Saskatchewan.
And unfortunately, Freddie's just missing that entry there, reaching a little bit too early out of that rotation, leaving him very, very short on that entry.
Another look at that dive from Moffitt. So once again, Claude Olivier Lissy-Coder from Quebec. That DD of 3.0.
We'll see another twisting dive here. We're going to see a couple more in this round. A beautiful dive there from Claude. A very, very nice entry. I would have liked to see him have a little bit more rotation off the board so he could make the dive easier, but he held on very, very well, kept his composure. Overall, very good dive for him.
Now bringing back Samuel Talbot from Quebec. Degree of difficulty 2.8 here in his 3rd dive of the day.
And a good dive there for Sam. A little bit over rotating, but I really liked his takeoff. Really great direction on the top. Great squeeze tuck, just over rotating slightly by holding on.
Here's another look at his entry. And here's Nicholas Bondi for Ontario for his 3rd dive. Degree of difficulty 2.8 coming up.
He'll be doing the same dive as Sam just did. And a really good entry there. There's a little bit of a wobble on that come out if we could see in the replay, but I think he's going to be really happy with that.
Let's take another look at that dive from Bondi. Here's Mark Rico Lamb from Alberta.
A beautiful dive there from Mark, slightly under rotating there, but still a very, very strong hurdle, very different kind of hurdle than we normally see traditionally in diving. Starting a lot closer to the end of the board.
A closer look at that dive from Rico Lamb.
He gets the rotation, he almost gets the vertical, just not quite tight enough there on the entry.
And for the 3rd time, Vlad Tiagle from Manitoba. 2.8.
Oh, and unfortunately that's a miss for Vlad. A little bit out of control there in the air. Off the board, you can see that he's a little bit sideways, coming out, twisting a little bit, and a little bit too much over rotation there. And that can happen a lot with a little bit too much adrenaline and competition adrenaline. So just having this experience at Canada Games, getting that experience in competition helps us learn.
See how important mental toughness is in a sport like diving. There's Simon LePage.
And an easier dive there from Simon, but done very, very well. When you execute an easier dive really, really well, it still pays off. I know he's trying to get some harder dives in his list, but that was a really great dive.
Here's another look at the dive from Simon LePage. Welcoming back Paul Yang for the 3rd time this morning.
And that was a front 3.5 pike, unfortunately a little bit short. Again, it is early in the morning. The energy might not be there for all these boys, so getting these dives done consistently is very important within a certain range. Unfortunately, not enough height there, and he might have reached a little bit too early. Yeah, he reached a little bit too early for that entry, leaving him short of the vertical.
So here's Thomas Moreno from Manitoba.
And again, a reverse 1.5 tuck, a simpler dive compared to what the other divers are doing. But he kept his composure, going a little bit short on that entry, which is not exactly what we want to see with these more simple dives.
Another look. Matthias Froloff. Great start for the day, for him. See that degree of difficulty, 2.8. Froloff from British Columbia.
Beautiful dive. Slightly short there for Matthias, but really, really strong, really beautiful position in the air, very strong takeoff, just leaving it slightly short of the vertical.
Here's another look at the dive from Froloff. So Casey Spilchak from Saskatchewan. His third dive of the morning coming up. Degree difficulty 2.8 coming up for Spilchak.
Beautiful dive there from Casey. I really, really love his takeoff and his elegance in the air. Beautiful come out, nice pointed toes, slightly over rotating.
Here's another look.
But still very beautiful dive.
So BC back to the board with Nikos Xanatakis. The third time this morning.
And another beautiful dive there from Nikos. Really, really well controlled there on the entry. That spinning rotation was really, really well done. Nice hurdle. You can see he's happy with that.
He is in another look. Once again. And up next, Adrian Insogna from Quebec.
And that was a front 2.5 full twist. You could see very, very well executed, slightly short on that entry, but overall very strong.
A great look at that dive from Insogna. Back, Matthias Desmarais from British Columbia. A degree of difficulty 2.8. Dive from the BC athlete.
There was a back 2.5 tuck. Unfortunately, just not enough energy that board there, leaving him a little bit short on the entry.
And a nice look once again from that dive from Desmarais. This brings up Logan Tate from Alberta. His third dive of the morning. DD of 2.8.
And a really well executed dive, absolutely beautiful. That was a great takeoff, really, really great trajectory into the rotation, leaving it easier for him to come out and rip that entry.
Second look at the dive from Desmarais. Logan Tate. Coming up now, Nicholas Landry from Manitoba. DD of 2.8.
and another one just short of vertical, unfortunately reaching a little bit too early out of that rotation, kind of underestimating where he was in the air, but still a really nice top on that takeoff. You can see here he just reaches a little bit too fast, which lets his legs drop.
So Jackson Congdon, for the third time this morning. Look at focus on Congdon.
Wow, beautiful dive. Even though it was slightly over-rotated, I think this is an amazing dive. The judges are going to still really, really like that. I think he can be quite happy with it. His technical aspect, every part of this dive is just amazing. That height, the tuck position, the kick, really tight. Just a little bit overreaching on the bottom there.
Coming up now, Arnaud Corbeil from Quebec. You see that 3.0 DD, Kaylee.
Yes, it's a front 2.5 with a full twist, another twisting dive. One of my favorites to watch. And again, really, really well executed on Arnaud's part. He's really on this morning. He knows exactly where that vertical is on all of his dives. He's showing his strength.
So Cash Tarasov for Saskatchewan. His third dive of the morning.
Maybe doing a back 2.5 pike. Wow, and very, very well executed. Cash, very strong. This is one of the dives we've been seeing the boys struggle with a little bit this morning. It is a more difficult dive, but you can see how tight he is in that pike, and he knows exactly where he is getting into that entry. Moving a little bit far back, but very, very well done.
So Nolan Legier-Lazare from Ontario. Second last diver here in round 3. 5 rounds to go, 5 rounds in total this morning.
I'm just missing a little bit of energy off that board there for Nolan. I felt like he held back a little bit on that takeoff, which doesn't give him enough to come out and rip it on the end to get to the vertical. Letting his legs kind of fall down right here. Can't quite get to the vertical.
So our final diver in this round number 3, Raphael Soré-Cormier of Ontario. Once again, Kaylee, we see that 3.0 DD, a big dive coming up.
Yes, another big back 2.5 pike. Very, very strong off the board there for Raphael. Unfortunately, just not in control in the entry, over-rotating slightly, not being able to come out into that straight vertical position. You see him fall back a little bit too much. That definitely has an impact on how much control you have on that entry.
So for the 4th time this morning, we see Freddie Moffat from Saskatchewan. Here to begin round number 4.
And again, just a little bit short of the vertical. You'll see on the replay here that on his takeoff, he lifts his head up, which kind of changes your awareness in the air. Right there. Maybe a little bit short, just reaching a bit too early.
So Claude Olivier Lissy-Coder from Quebec.
He'll be doing the same dive. And again, just beautiful diving from Claude. Like we said at the beginning, he's known for his grip entries, long, beautiful Elgin lines. very, very tight, and I really just love this dive.
Great look at that dive. Lise Cauder of Quebec bringing up his teammate Samuel Talbot. Fellow athlete from Quebec. Fourth dive.
Going a little bit short on that entry, leaning a little bit too far forward. Unfortunately, not quite getting to that vertical.
Here's another look at that dive from Samuel Talbot. So Nicholas Bondi, next up for Ontario. The fourth time, FTD of 2.8.
Another reverse 2.5 tuck position. Very, very good entry. A little bit messy on the come out there. Would like to see him a little bit more composed with some structure of the come outs. But overall, a good entry on the end. Through the bending of the legs, those judges definitely saw that and deducted for it. Lots to learn though.
So here's Mark Rico Lamb from Alberta. Fourth dive of the morning.
Another reverse 2.5 tuck. I think he was a little bit close to the board there on the reverse, which the judges will definitely see. Definitely a different kind of hurdle again, off the corner of the board. Going too short on that entry, not enough rotation off the end.
So Vlad Tiagle from Manitoba. Next up, dive from him, DD 3.0.
He'll be doing an air 2.5 pike position. Again, changing the position from a tuck to a pike makes it more difficult, needs a bit more power. And very well executed from Vlad there. A little bit short on the entry, needs a little bit more rotation off of the board, but still very well composed, doing these harder dives. It's not an easy feat in competition.
Here's another look at that jump, that dive from Tiagle. So Simon LePage, next for Ontario. In this round number 4.
Oh, a little bit too much power there for Simon. He held on a little bit too long to his tuck position. We're seeing the replay on the entry. He's ducking his head going into the water, which doesn't help him stop the rotation there.
There's that replay for Simon LePage of Ontario. He'll have one more dive to go this morning. Here's Paul Yang.
And that was the first reverse 2.5 pike that we've seen. Unfortunately, just not enough rotation there, not enough height, so it's moving him a little bit short. But I can see that he's excited that he got that one off in competition. Some of these boys might be competing these harder dives for the first time. We never know. Just need a little bit more whip off that board.
And here's Thomas Moreno from Manitoba. Round number 4.
And we just saw an inward 1.5 tuck, a DD of 1.9, another easier dive. So he stayed well composed, decent jump on the top, just missing the bottom on that entry a little bit.
That brings up Matthias Frolov from British Columbia. His fourth dive of the day.
Nice dive there from Matthias. Unfortunately, a little bit short. I know he can really, really nail this dive. Just held back a little bit on that come out, not allowing him to go straight into that vertical entry.
There's another look at that dive from Frolov. Brings up Casey Spilchak from Saskatchewan. Read difficulty 2.8. on his fourth dive coming up.
Same dive, yes.
Making his time.
And a good dive there from Casey. Missing a little bit of power off the end of the board. I think I would have liked to see him have a bit more oomph going off the board. Overall, decent dive, just leaving him a little bit short of the vertical once again.
There's another look at the dive from Spilchak of Saskatchewan. Bringing up Nikos Xanatakis from British Columbia.
A beautiful dive there from Nikos. An easier dive for him, only 2.4 degree of difficulty French enough pipe, but he kept his composure, stayed really, really strong. On these easy dives is about getting that technical aspect perfect, and he almost had a perfect dive there.
So Adrian Insogna from Quebec, a DD of 3.0.
The reverse 2.5, really, really well executed. He's got a bigger list growing, and I'm really happy to see him doing these big dives. Strong off the end of the board there, into that pike, knows exactly where he is, and reaches right into that water.
A nice dive from Insogna, bringing back Matthias Desmarais from British Columbia. Fourth time we've seen him this morning on the board. 2.8 DD on this upcoming dive.
Another reverse 2.5, but in the tuck position. And a good dive there from Matthias, a little bit off to the side on the corner of the board. Could be a bit of a distraction for him and the judges, but he kept his composure once again. Reached for that entry.
There's another great look at the dive from Matthias Desmarais of BC. And up next, Logan Tate of Alberta. Round 4. Coverage. DD of 2.8 for Tate.
And again, a decent dive there for Logan. A little bit short of the vertical, not quite holding on long enough and being quite as tight as he needs to be on that entry to get that rip entry.
Here's another look. So Nicholas Landry from Manitoba.
A beautiful dive there from Nicholas. I really, really love that entry. Very, very strong, very tight, tucked in the air. Nice rotation.
Here's another look at the dive from Landry. Brings up Jackson Congdon from British Columbia. Degree of difficulty 2.8. This upcoming fourth dive.
Beautiful dive there. A little bit over rotating, unfortunately, but a very, very well executed dive up until the entry. Very strong takeoff, beautiful tuck position, just slightly over rotating.
Four divers remaining here in round number 4 of 5. Here's Arnaud Corbet. We see that degree of difficulty at 3.5, so a big dive coming up for Corbet.
The hardest dive of this event, reverse 3.5 tuck. And amazing, very well executed. He's going to be incredibly happy with that. Being able to do a 3.5 DD of that caliber is amazing. Very, very beautiful fall takeoff, huge jump, really fast rotation. Comes out super tight with those legs and reaches right for that water.
capacity crowd here at the Aquarena in St. John's showing their respect for that difficult dive and great execution for Corbeil. That brings up Cash Tarasov from Saskatchewan.
Wow, and a beautiful dive. It was reverse 2.5 tuck, slightly easier than the dive that we just saw. They're very, very well executed. Again, with these easier dives, technique and perfection. Accuracy is very, very important. Those legs, that line, that grip, just incredible.
So here's Nolan Leger-Lazare from Ontario. A degree of difficulty 2.7 for his fourth dive.
Beautiful dive there from Nolan. Slightly short of the vertical knuckle, extending his hips into that straight body line. But a beautiful takeoff, beautiful tuck position. Knew exactly where he was, just holding back a little bit on that entry.
Here's another look. Leger-Lazare from Ontario. Our final diver coming up of this fourth round, Raphael Serre-Cormier. You see that 3.0 DD, a big dive coming up for Serre-Cormier.
Reverse 2.5 pike position. Unfortunately, just missing a little bit of energy off the top of that takeoff. Not quite getting the rotation that he needs to finish that entry into the vertical. Like I said before, really hard to squeeze more energy into that dive once you've taken off. Short of the vertical there for Raphael.
That wraps up round number 4. Bringing us back to Freddie Moffat to kick things off here in round 5. This morning from the Works Aquarena in beautiful St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, tremendous hosts for these Canada Summer Games. And here's Moffat.
And a beautiful dive there from Freddie at front 1.5 with a 2 twist. Very, very nice direction, beautiful straight position in that twist, and a very beautiful entry.
Here's another look at the dive from Moffat. So Claudio Olivier Lissé-Coder from Quebec. His final dive of the morning. Great focus.
Beautiful dive there from Claude. I just love his diving. He's so elegant, very precise, slightly over rotating on this back 2.5 tuck, but very, very strong takeoff, beautiful position in the air.
So Samuel Talbot of Quebec. See that 3.0 degree of difficulty.
He'll be doing a French now for the full twist. We'll be seeing a lot of twisting dives on this last round. And a decent dive there for Sam, leaving the dive slightly short of the vertical, not quite enough power off the end of the board. Hard not to go for it full on that last dive of the event.
Here's another look.
Like I said, there's going to be a lot of twisting dives. A lot of people are a lot more comfortable finishing with their twisting dives. It leaves a little bit of a higher degree of difficulty at the end.
Brings up Nicholas Bondi from Ontario.
Now, the first reverse twisting dive that we've seen, which is quite an interesting dive, a reverse 2.5 half twist. Well executed. He could be very happy with that, leaving it slightly short on the entry. He was happy with that.
Great look at that dive from Bondi. Bringing up Mark Rico Lamb, 3.0 degree of difficulty from Alberta.
A decent finish there for Mark. He came out of the twist a little bit later than I would have liked to see him come out. He needs a little bit more rotation off the top of that dive, but still very, very well done. A little bit short on that entry.
Here's another look. So Vlad Tiagle will return for the 5th time this morning. The board, you see that DD of 3.0.
He'll be doing the same dive that Mark just did, a front 2.5 with a full twist. Unfortunately, just not enough spin on that rotation to allow him to have that control in the twist. Came out a little bit late, a little bit loose in the hips, which makes it really, really hard to control on the bottom there.
Here's another look at the dive from Tiagle. Next up, Simon LePage from Ontario. His final dive of the morning here in round 5.
That was a front 1.5 with 2 twists. Unfortunately, we saw a little bit of loss of control there at the bottom. With these twisting dives, you want to see control out of the twist, getting square vertical straight in front of you. You can see right here, he continues to twist on that entry. The judges are not going to miss that, but overall, good event for Simon there.
Next up is Paul Yang, degree of difficulty 3.0 for his final jump of the morning.
A beautiful finish there for Paul. Very, very strong off of the board. Leaving it a little bit short of the vertical, but very strong into that pike and into that twist. Knows exactly where he is in the air.
There's another great look at that jump from Yang. As we dive from Lang is Thomas Moreno. Next on the board from Manitoba. His 5th dive coming up.
He'll be doing a back 1.5 with 1.5 twist. And a solid finish there for Thomas. Got a little bit of the loss of control in the legs, but still overall a good event for him. And a nice finish.
Another look at that dive from Moreno. From Manitoba. Brings up once again Matthias Frolov from British Columbia. Big dive coming up from him, that degree of difficulty 3.0.
We're doing a front 2.5 with a full twist. A beautiful end for Matthias there, leaving it short of the vertical once again. Would have liked to see a little bit more power off of the board there. I feel a little bit of holding back from him in this event. But overall, really nice position in the air and beautiful into that twist position.
A nice look at that dive from Frolov, bringing up Saskatchewan's Casey Spilchak. See the degree of difficulty 2.8. His final dive.
We've seen him do a back 1.5 with 2.5 twist. And that's a miss for Casey there, unfortunately. A little bit too much rotation there. But this dive, we're looking for a really good vertical jump with a lot of twisting momentum. Unfortunately, had a little bit too much rotation, a little bit too slow on that twisting.
Here's BC, Nikos Xanatakis. His 5th dive of the morning.
A beautiful finish there for Nikos, a back 1.5 with 1.5 twist. Very, very well executed. Nice tight legs all the way through that dive. Beautiful direction off the takeoff. And really, really nice reach right into that beautiful entry.
So Adrian Insogna, 3.0 degree of difficulty for his final dive this morning from Quebec.
We're doing an inward 2.5 pike position. Decent finish there for Adrian, leaving the dive slightly short of the vertical, not quite enough power off the board rotation-wise as well. But I think this is a really strong event for him, a good warm-up.
Here's another look at that dive from Insogna. Next up, returning for his 5th dive is Matthias Desmarais from British Columbia. See that degree of difficulty, 2.9.
Reverse 1.5 with 2.5 twist. And unfortunately, a little bit short of the vertical. He had a really nice twisting position in the air, but again, just not quite enough direction and power off the board.
Here's another look at the dive from Desmarais. So Logan Tate from Alberta, next to take the board. Difficulty 2.8.
Back 1.5 with 2.5 twist. Really, really solid takeoff there for Logan. Just unfortunately a little bit of out of control on the entry. Continuing to twist.
Another look at that dive. Logan Tate. Here comes Nicholas Landry of Manitoba. His 5th dive of the morning.
And a beautiful end there for him. A back 1.5 and 1.5 twist. Very, very well done. Nice tight legs throughout the whole thing. Getting that nice clean entry.
And a great look at that dive. Bringing up next, Jackson Congdon from British Columbia. Degree of difficulty 3.0 for his 5th dive.
Beautiful finish there for Jackson. The front 2.5 with a full twist. Very, very well executed. Very strong hurdle. Very strong takeoff. Very nice big position. And this connection into the twist is just wonderful. Which allows him to get into that entry nice and clean.
And a great look at that dive from Congdon, bringing back up Arnaud Corbet from Quebec. 3.0 DD for his 5th dive.
He'll be finishing with a back 2.5 pike position. Oh, and I think that's probably the first miss that we've seen from Arnaud. Unfortunately, just leaving the dive short of vertical. He got a really, really nice takeoff, beautiful pike. Coming out a little bit early and reaching a little early with those arms.
So 3 divers remaining here in this 5th round. Kash Tarasov for Saskatchewan. 3.0 DD. His final round dive.
We're doing an inward 2.5 pike position. And a solid end there for Kash. Missing that entry a little bit on the bottom, not quite getting that full extension into the vertical. Takeoff seemed all right to me, maybe missing a little bit of rotation off the top, which makes it hard to get that entry.
And here's Nolan Lagier-Lazary from Ontario, a 2.8 DD for his 5th dive.
He'll be doing a back 1.5 with 2.5 twist. A beautiful dive there for Nolan. I really love his takeoff and his twisting position. Missing the entry slightly, but still a very, very, very nice ending for him for this event.
So 1 diver remaining. Raphael Serre-Cormier.
A very solid end to this whole event. Front 2.5 with a full twist. Very, very beautiful entry into that water. Slightly short, but still very, very well composed dive and very beautiful entry.
Here's a look. So that wraps up our 5th round of this morning. The men's 3-meter springboard. Certainly an exciting one. There's a look at the leaderboard. Kaylee, your thoughts overall on what we've seen thus far this morning?
Very exciting event. I mean, like I said, it's the morning, it's the prelim. A lot of these boys just want to get to the final, get the jitters out this morning. I think it was a very strong event. We saw some really beautiful dives. We saw some dives that we know that they can work on, and they know that they can work on. So that is one of the best things that you can have going into the final. And I think it's going to be a really, really tough competition, which is super exciting, as it always is at the Canada Games.
Well, there you have it. One final look at the results so far here from the Aquarena complex at the Canada Summer Games. The works. What a great morning for Kaylee Mackay. I'm Robbie Doherty. Thanks for joining us from St. John's.
Atlantic Lottery is proud to sponsor important community initiatives like this year's Canada Games.
In the quiet of the morning calm, where the sun rises at the dawn, and the birds sing their waking song, there's a story to be told. So if you hear a teller telling you a tangled tale, or maybe 2, rest assured, every word is true, especially the bits they make up.